When you do experiments in laboratory on consciousness, how much of the first person account is taken into consideration? Is there any experimental or system of, is there any way that has been developed to establish a reliable way of taking the first person account into consideration?
So there is this tradition called phenomenologists. It's a small tradition only in psychology and in neuroscience that try to capture the vast. You know, when I just look at this, it's vast. It's filled with vast amount of information. All the colors, all the spatial relationship, left, right, up, down. So people are only now realizing that this vast amount of information, because usually people say, well, you can only remember 7 bits, so your mind is very low baud rate. But in fact, there's vast amount of information, and even in a black scene, because there's still spatial relationships. And so people are now only now beginning to develop those sort of first-person account to try to capture quantitatively all the data, the information that's inside a single conscious experience.
This is a perfect segue, I think, because Michel, you've been wanting to chime in.
Okay, thank you very much. It's a question for Chris. I very much appreciated, in fact, your
Chris or Christoph? I'm Christoph, he's Chris.
Yes, sorry, I was abbreviating. So your conference was really wonderful, and I especially appreciated that you started from the obvious presence of experience. But on the other hand, I have a problem of vocabulary with what you said. When you are very prudent, you speak of neural correlates of consciousness. You speak also that you say that consciousness is associated with a particular brain working. But when you are less prudent, you say that the brain generates consciousness, that you are looking for neural mechanisms that give rise to consciousness or for the source of consciousness in the brain. When you use the second set of words, you strongly suggest.
Okay, yes, continue.
When you use the second set of words, such as source of consciousness, you strongly suggest that the brain is more fundamental than consciousness, that it is the cause of consciousness. But I think that none of the wonderful experiments you quoted, and even those you didn't quote, can support this symmetry between the two. Because, in fact,